Welcome back to short form 1. So let's start with the basic alignments of neutral posture. Feet parallel, approximately under the hips. Knees unlocked. Tailbone relaxed down. Just feeling behind the pelvis and up into the lower back and just releasing it. Feeling for any sense of just a little length you can create there. And angle the pelvis and tailbone tilt a little more toward the ground. Open up your midriff, create some space in this part of you. And continue that gentle lifting up the spine to where the spine meets the skull, the occiput. The basic structure. Then off of that basic structure, release your upper back and shoulders, have the back open up as the chest relaxes and sinks. This is the opposite of a Western military posture, where we squeeze the back and push the chest out. Here we're opening the back and just letting the chest release. Feel your armpits. We're aiming to have a sense of openness in the armpits. Not with strain, but you don't want to collapse the armpits. Palms facing behind you. You can just touch your index and the sides of your index and middle finger, index and thumb lightly on the side of the thighs. That positions the hand. Then drop your mind on your feet, your hard-working feet. Feel them. Balance the pressures in your feet. So this is a posture, a way to organize your structure. And then what we're going to do, we're going to change our posture to where we end up at the end of move 8. The iconic Tai Chi posture of single whip. Single whip. So let's build up the single whip posture. So your feet, just rotate on your heels so they are more or less 45 degrees off the center line. They're angled out. Sink into your legs a little. Then your right hand, elevate it to about shoulder height. And then align it with your leg and foot. And when you get there, your elbow is going to be right over your knees. And then just drop your elbow a little bit. And then touch your thumb, the tip of your thumb to the tips of your fingers. This is called the beak hand. Left arm in hand. Align it with the left leg and foot. Elevate it to approximately shoulder height. Drop your elbow. Ideally, your elbow's pointing right at your knee. And then your left palm, just angle it out like it's at the same angle as your foot. And this is a Wu style single whip. So now smoothly back to neutral. So with that, let me show you single whip. So I made it here to the end of move 7. Here's single whip. So you see I've ended up more or less at where we started the class. Feet more or less 45 degrees off center line. I've sunk into my legs. Right arm and hands align with the right leg and foot. Hands in the beak hand. Left arm and hands align with the left leg and foot. Palm out. We can break that into a 5-count move. I'll show you the 5 counts and then we'll start to do them. 1, 2, 3 is the whip. 4, 5 is the finish. Even weighted. One of the 6 places in the short form where you're intentionally even weighted. All right. So with that, count 1 involves, so made it to the end of move 7. Count 1 involves a small hip rotation into the weighted leg. We've done that before. Turning the hips. And the right hand makes the beak hand. The left hand just turns over, palm up. And ideally, you want to control that hand movement with the hip rotation. So let's all set up here at the end of move 7. All right. So feel your hips. You're going to turn them into your right leg. Right hand makes the beak hand. Left hand turns over. Yeah, that's it. Just feel that hand structure you're making. And the right hand makes the beak hand. So ideally, thumb and fingers are touching. Turn my hips, yeah. Reset. So here we are at the end of move 7. So turn your hips into your right leg. Right hand makes a beak hand, left hand turns over. Weight stays on the right. Yeah. Reset. 1. Reset. 1. And on the beak hand, ideally the fingers and thumbs touch. Yeah. Okay, that's it. 1. Okay. Count 2 is a pretty small movement, but it's really helpful to incorporate it. And many people in learning single whip move, the count 2 tends to get dropped, and we'll put it back in, so it's okay if you drop it. But if you keep it in, it helps maintain the openness of posture. So just watch this. 1. And we can characterize this as a bend. Can you see? Bend. Little bend. 1. And now 2, I'm going to start to turn my hips away from my weighted leg and just open the structure up. So this is starting a stretch. And then we're going to do a big stretch when we whip, but this, we start the stretch. So let's try counts 1 and 2. Follow me. 1, 2. Just a little stretch. Reset. 1, 2. Yeah, hands still stay together here. Here we go. 1, 2. Next, count 3 comes the whip. And in the whip, we're going to step as well. So let's try that. 1, turn hips, make the beak hand. 2, turn your hips away from the weighted leg, extend that structure. Now 3, turn your hips, begin to whip. And then just take a small step landing on the left heel. That's it. Reset. 1, 2, 3, land the heel. Yeah. And what you're aiming for, and for most of us this takes some trial and error to get a feel for it, is you want to step so that the heels are in line and the left foot's ready to be 45 degrees off center line. It's an unusual kind of step for most of us, and it just takes some trial and error to dial it in. So here we go. 1, turn your hips, make the beak hand. 2, turn your hips, stretch. 3, continue to turn your hips, whip, step. All right, now count 4. We're going to shift weight and turn our hips a little bit into our left leg. Shift weight, turn your hips. And the left hand expresses a little chop, small chop. Yeah, that's count 4. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. Here's the whip. 4. Here's the chop. And now, finish. Turn your hips straight ahead, even weighted. Left hand rotates out. Left palm out. And here we are, more or less where we started. the class today, single whip posture. So left palm is facing out. And ideally, like we started out, arms and hands in line with the legs and the feet, elbows over the knees. Yeah, that's how we get there. Let's try it again. I know this is a sophisticated move at the start, and this is the conclusion of the first third of the form. So here we go. 1, turn your hips, make the beak hand. 2, turn your hips, extend that structure. 3, turn your hip. Here's the whip, step. Shift weight, turn hips a little in the left leg, chop. Turn hips straight ahead. Final posture. Yeah, that's the idea. And then you can check your feet. So I step back a little more than ideal, so I can adjust. And through practice, doing the move, checking and correcting, you'll start dialing that in. All right, let's try that one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, step. 4, shift weight top. 5, finish. Smoothly back to neutral. Whew. So now we add single whip to moves 1 through 7, and we'll do the first third of the form. Moves 1 through 8, follow me. Ready, begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shift weight 1, 2, wrap, step, finish, take your pulse. Turn wrist to wrist. Shift weight, wrist to fingers. Turn, step. Rotate out. Rotate in. Turn your hips straight ahead. Shift weight, bend. Bottom palm turns over, tuck. Unfold the hands. Shift weight back. Rotate out. Rotate in, shift weight. Finish with the palm. Single whip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just adjust your position. Yeah, that's all. Just adjust it. There you go. Smoothly back to neutral. All right. For those of you for whom this is new, if that seems like a lot, I empathize. All right. And that's why we're going to, this is a place we're going to spend some more time. And we will we'll help stabilize it, clear it up, so that you've got a solid foundation in the first 8 moves before we proceed from there, which we will. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. Thank you. Enjoy your practice. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.